Ever finished a conversation and had that nagging feeling in your chest? Like, did I just interrupt them again? Relax, you're not a bad person, and you didn't mean to. But interrupting is often one of those mostly subconscious habits that can silently chip away at your relationships, your career, and even your self-worth. Now, the truth is, we all do it, and we probably hate it just as much when it happens to us. So why do we keep doing it? And more importantly, can you really stop this habit in just 5 minutes? Well, let us see. But first, let's get real about the why. See, most of the advice out there is just fluff. It tells you to be patient without explaining what's actually happening. However, the actual reason is much more interesting, and it's not what you think. A 2018 study from UC Berkeley showed that when we listen, our brains aren't just sitting idle. They're actually busy predicting what the other person will say next, literally building the next sentence in real time. That's called predictive processing. And now, the moment your brain thinks it has the full picture, a little part of you wants to jump in, like the eager kid in class who already knows the answer. This is especially true for highly analytical or fast-thinking people. Here, you're not trying to be rude. Your mind is just several steps ahead, so it feels like the conversation is already solved. But there's another layer too. Sometimes, interrupting isn't about speed at all. It is an attempt to seek validation or control. Sociologist Charles Derber called this phenomenon conversational narcissism, which suggests that some interruptions are simply to redirect the conversation back to ourselves. It's a subconscious way of saying, my experience matters more right now. And the truth is, we all do it to some degree. So now that we understand why interruptions happen, let's dive into the 5-minute fix. Remember, it's not about suppressing an impulse. It's about retraining your brain. So we'll start with a surprisingly simple technique, and later on, I'll show you a really powerful one that might surprise you. Technique number 1, the 2-second rule. Here's how it works. When the person you're speaking with finishes their sentence, do not, under any circumstance, jump in immediately. Instead, force yourself a silent pause, and simply count in your head 1, 2, before you respond. I know it sounds almost too easy, but that 2-second pause does 3 miraculous things. First, it gives the other person a chance to add a thought they were still formulating. Yep, you'd be amazed how often this happens. Second, it breaks the predictive processing cycle in your brain, forcing it to listen for new information instead of just predicting. And third, maybe most importantly, it creates a little buffer for you to consciously decide, is what I'm about to say more important than what they might say next? Or am I just trying to fill the silence? Next, we have technique number 2, the listening to summarize psyche. An interesting study from the University of Missouri found that when people listen with the goal of repeating back a summary of what they heard, their comprehension and memory retention skyrocketed. So here's your second 5-minute hack. Instead of thinking about what you're going to say next, try to mentally summarize the other person's point. Let's say a friend is talking about their stressful day. Don't jump in with an "I had that too" story. Instead, keep summarizing in your mind. Okay, so they had a frustrating meeting, and now they're worried about a deadline. Thus, by focusing on their story, you're literally building a mental model of their experience, not just preparing your own. And honestly, that's the same way you listen to a good story. You're not busy planning your response. You're just eager to know what happens next. That's the mindset we need to adopt to break the habit of interrupting. All right, here's the final and most powerful third strategy, the no I rule. In this technique, for the next 5 minutes of any conversation, try to talk the entire time without starting a sentence with I. No, I think. No, I feel. No, I had a similar experience. Thus, you'll notice how quickly conversations stop revolving around you. Well, this isn't about eliminating your personal stories, but it's about forcing yourself to reframe them. So instead of, "I had the same thing happen to me last week," try, "That sounds frustrating. What did you end up doing?" In fact, this simple rule forces you to stay curious, to ask questions, and to keep the conversation spotlight on the other person. Lastly, before I end this video, here's your homework. In your very next conversation, Pick one of these techniques, the 2-second rule, the mental summary, or the no I rule, and actually use it. And when you do, not only will your relationships become stronger, but you'll start to realize that the most interesting stories are not the ones you're telling. They're the ones you're finally taking the time to hear.